Good morning, everybody. I will directly hand over to Ulli Spankowski, who will start in a second, and just giving you a very warm welcome. Today we will talk about digital securities, tokenization, and so on. That's, in my mind, besides the crypto assets and Bitcoin, the most important topic so far. We are right here in Frankfurt. You see it with the banks, the financial service providers in the city who are getting increasingly more dynamic in this area. It's really amazing to see that this topic picks up, digital securities and tokenization. And tomorrow we will talk about the digital euro, identity management and blockchain, and so on. And I think this tomorrow will also be very fascinating. But from a dynamical perspective, I would see Bitcoin, crypto assets, what we discussed yesterday is the highest footprint which we are seeing with regard to dynamical development, and what we are talking today is really picking up these days. You know, lawyers, banks, startups, and so on in the area of digital securities and tokenizations are starting to work, putting a lot of energy inside. Startups are getting funding and so on. So it's absolutely fascinating to see this in 2021, and this is just the beginning. With this, I would like to hand over to the number one blockchain company, crypto company, which we are having here in Germany, that's Börse Stuttgart, and directly handing over to Ulli for his speech.
Good morning, everybody. Am I on the screen? Okay, no signal.
We hear you just fine, and we can also see you.
Oh, you can see me because I have this wonderful no signal sign, unsupported signal. So I'll just go ahead, guys. Philip, thank you so much for the introduction. Yeah, good morning also from my side, everybody. And welcome to the second day of the Crypto Asset Conference 2021. This is my fifth Crypto Asset Conference, and it's actually overwhelming to see how nicely this industry and to the same time the conference here are developing. So every year we see new players, new services, new ideas, and obviously also new people that we can meet. Well, actually this year hopefully will be the last time that it has to be on this screen-to-screen base, because I really love talking to people in 3D and also having drinks connected to that. So hopefully next time we will be able to meet each other directly. Well, on top of that, that we see new people all the time and having new business ideas. We also see in the Crypto Asset Conference the same people year per year again, which is actually a great sign, because it's a constantly growing, let's say, class reunion that we have here. And by having that, I'm convinced that this industry that we're all contributing is certainly here to last. And we certainly picked a very interesting area to work with. When I started working in the financial domain in 2008, I remember everybody was telling me, okay, well, actually, you missed the fun times. It's all over. Now it's all about regulation, being compliant, and let's see where it takes us. But then, you know, eventually things change, and then crypto, Bitcoin was coming up. Now we have blockchain in general, and what Philip just mentioned, DeFi and security tokens and all that stuff coming up. It is getting, again, super interesting for us, and we're as Börse Stuttgart to be part of that, and that we can accompany the industry within that journey. And now let me take a step back and give you my perspective on where we stand, at least from my point of view here at Börse Stuttgart, but also in terms of the industry in general. So when we started in 2017 designing the digital strategy of Börse Stuttgart, Bitcoin was just again on its way to the moon. Yeah, I think in the beginning of 2017, Bitcoin was valued at $1,000, and at the end of 2017, we almost hit the $20,000 mark. And then when we were all super enthusiastic and we were designing all these great concepts on where we want to move with Börse Stuttgart and in the future, and we were all hyped by euphoria, then boom, all busted and crypto winter started. But not only that, I mean, additionally, the ICO industry that we had in parallel during that time really turned out to be, well, at least for most part, a big disaster, being completely filled with fraud. So with this surrounding, I think it was really tough, and also from the perspective of Börse Stuttgart, brave to go into that area and to support what we're currently doing and continue with our digital agenda. So luckily, when we designed our digital strategy, it wasn't purely based on Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, the overall idea was much bigger than that, and is still much bigger than that. It's the complete digital asset ecosystem that we want to foster. So crypto is just one of the first starting points of that. And obviously back then we already thought, cool, next step certainly will be tokenization of assets of all kinds, security tokens. Then we had the first movements towards regulation. And we thought within the next 1-2 years, we will be seeing any type of assets being tokenized. So what was our strategy actually about at Börse Stuttgart, where you're really retail focused? I think this is where Börse Stuttgart grew over the last 20 years pretty big and has a very strong reputation. It was very key to us to get direct access to retail customers, which we in the traditional market don't have directly, as we are connected to brokers, order flow providers, issuers, but we do not really have direct access. So crypto was actually enabling us to do this first step toward getting a direct connection to the retailer. And by doing so, I mean, step by step, we would be increasing our asset universe. We would be, adopting to more things to come. Then we realized, well, the trading part is actually key and significant, but it's not only about trading, it's also about issuance and custody. So we quickly understood that from a customer point of view, and here there is not a big differentiation between a B2C and a B2B customer. There's one thing. These customers want to have effortless access to new products and services, and the costs and efforts, they need to be very low in order to do so. So what you need to offer a customer, whether it's B2C or B2B, is a seamless process. It's a very one-stop shop thing, and it doesn't really matter if you create the digital ecosystem on your own or you create it with partners and you just go up with partners on that journey. So we created basically a complete ecosystem from the issuance of tokens to the custody of tokens, and applied that in a first step to the crypto domain. So that was actually good because the market timing was just right. We started with our first product, which is the BISON app. And I'm very honest with you, timing was great, market was great. The users that are started, using our services back then, now in total accumulated more than 1 billion in assets. So not about the assets under management perspective, but about the personal gain that they all had. So by the assets under management, we are quite far over that, actually. So BISON was the first step, and it was really an interesting story. We are now close to 500,000, or steadily moving toward 500,000 registered users. The trading volumes are insanely great. In 2021, we already crossed 3.5 billion. So last month was almost 1 billion in trading volume. Product will be significantly enlarged in the future, and we will be rolling out internationally as well. But that's not it. That was just the first step. What we thought on BISON was the easy access to crypto for the mass market. And here we also needed to have that for the institutional players. And this is why we created Börse Stuttgart Digital Exchange, which is a fully fledged professional crypto trading platform, fully regulated under an MTF license in Germany. And also here we see a significant success. So the market participants are significantly growing. I think we have more than over 30,000 now, with more and more institutional participants that are onboarded. And also, as I mentioned before, assets under management. We created our own digital asset custodian, also fully regulated with a German license, crypto custody license. And we see insanely fast growing assets under management. And here we have a very intense focus on the liquidity management for serving the needs of institutional clients in the trading domain. So far, so good. This all went well. So where's the story? Where are the security tokens? Where are these pieces of arts, these songs that we can participate in a security token type of contract? Where's our real estate shares, or a version of a digital security of Daimler or Tesla, Apple? When did you trade these type of assets lately? And where? In Stuttgart? In Frankfurt? In Zurich? In London? Well, not sure about yourself, and probably talking about us as the industry. We are most deeply into the industry, and we know how and where this is going to happen, but I don't really see this happening as of now in the regulated financial institution space. I don't see any regulated financial institutions skyrocketing so far on security tokens. And I think one thing that we learned, well, I would say the hard way, is that change in the regulated financial domain is coming more, instead of lightning speed, more in this type of speed where the shadow moves across the day around the house corner, but in super slow motion. So this is where we are. It's really, well, taking time, and obviously regulation here is a very important influence on that speed, and offering tokenization services, particularly in the financial domain, is significantly dependent on regulation and what we have here. But on the other hand, this regulation is really key, and we have this very, very important, let's say, opportunity by regulation to make things mass marketable. When we started with BISON, the very important thing was that retailers could buy this from a regulated financial institution within Germany. We could also see that. So from the AML5 directive that came in and connected to that, the crypto custody license in 2020, this was, in my opinion, a huge push towards institutional adoption towards crypto, because institutions for the first time really understood, okay, I know how to deal with crypto. This is what the regulator more or less tells me what we can do or not. And this story continues. So now we have the German law for electronic securities. Okay, it's the good thing, it's there, it's coming, and it will be further developed. It's not really fully fledged, so securities are not yet part of it, but we will get there. And also what we see, the pilot regime, the MiCA, the Market in Crypto Assets Directive on the European level. We have the new law that enables German funds to go into crypto. We have new guidance on anti-money laundering from the FATF. Well, also we have now potential thoughts on how crypto assets could be taxed. So let's keep our fingers crossed that this is not really changing dramatically. So long story short, this is all very positively contributing to our tokenization ecosystem, but it will go step by step. And crypto, we saw it, it started there. And I would say we're almost on the mass market thing. So what will be next? significantly influencing this digital asset ecosystem, particularly when it comes to tokenization? Well, apparently, I think DeFi plays a very significant role here. And the usability and the user experience that DeFi services and decentralized apps could bring to the mass market, to the retailers, but then also to institutionals. So, and obviously connected to that is this new mega trend on the non-fungible token side. So non-fungible tokens are all over the place, all over the media. And I think the idea is just brilliant to create unique value over an NFT of something that just, is just randomly shareable or copyable. And from things that basically had no economical meaning, we go into the direction of having this economic value attributed to these goods. And it doesn't really matter whether it's art, songs, collectible basketball videos or cards or gaming items. I mean, it's pretty huge what you can do with it. So, but again, I think the fun part on non-fungible tokens is not only the participation or collectible idea, but also the trading idea behind. So you need super liquid markets where you can basically change your basketball cards or videos with one another, and you get revenue earned on that one, or you get dividends connected to that. And that brings me actually to a couple of questions. So how long will it take for DeFi and wallet solutions to basically penetrate mass market? I mean, it's a generation thing. The younger generation is completely used to that, but I mean, we are broader, right, in the complete industry and in the complete population. So we also need to pick up those who do not have this technological understanding. And I think key will here be user experience to offer that. So let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that all that doesn't take another 5 to 10 years, but actually is being developed faster. And the other thing that's connected in my thought with non-fungible tokens, from what I see from the business models that are really interesting, these non-fungible tokens remind me very much of financial instruments or financial derivatives. So you participate in something, you democratize it, you have a lot of people having a share of that. The value of the underlying asset grows, and when it grows, well, then you can participate on that. Well, sounds very much like a financial instrument to me. And so for me, again, the question really is, how is regulation connected to that? And we saw that on the security token side, that regulation is a significant game changer on this one. So long story short, I think it will be highly interesting to see how NFT and DeFi is going to develop. It will significantly contribute in a positive way to our tokenization industry. And I think it will be quite important how the regulator will be picking up this trend as well. So to break it down, for me, the essential things for the tokenization industry to move on is trust. Okay, I know we're in the blockchain domain, no trust needed, but I tell you something, institutions, particularly financial institutions, do base a lot on trust, on regulation, and a one-stop shop ecosystem, which either can come directly from one party, like at Börse Stuttgart, or you have a digital asset ecosystem that you create by partnerships. By the way, we are also super open for partnerships to increase our digital asset ecosystem. So don't hesitate to get back to us and talk to us, and let's say share your ideas and thoughts, and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. So in a nutshell, let me sum up my thoughts on what can really be the big game changers in the future. So DeFi, yes, certainly. Faster moving regulation, certainly. Industrial adoption, particularly in the financial domain, based on providers with a regulated digital asset ecosystem. I think this will be key. And well, so are we there yet? I guess obviously no. Is this a sad thing? Well, honestly, no, because the journey is just great. And I think the developments are interesting, what we see here. And I think it will be quite quite interesting and powerful to see what the future will bring in this tokenization part, particularly connected to regulation. So I hope we will all be able to meet next year in person and discuss this directly. I wish you all a wonderful day and hope you have a good time at the Crypto Asset Conference. Thanks a lot for having me. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Ulli Spankowski, for kicking the second day off.